Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Well, good afternoon, sir.
Hello, mate. Good to see you again.
And you, how are you?
I'm very, very well. I am. Yeah, I've had a good week. Thank you. Yeah, very good. Very good. Yourself?
Got a refreshment?
Oh, what you mean? You one of these?
Oh, is that the 0% fun, is it?
I'm afraid it's a 0% fun. Yeah, I've got 24 hours left and then back. I joined the real life again.
Next week, you'll be a mess on the floor. There won't be an episode next week because you're going to be having your stomach.
I'll just be soaked in scotch.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, matey. Yeah. Oh, look at you out of the glass.
Do you know what? It sounds stupid. I much prefer draft lager.
Right.
But that's not an option really at the moment because we're not allowed to go to those places where they serve the old draft. And second option would be bottles, but I didn't have any bottles in. I've got cans, so I don't really like it out of a can. So I've been fancy.
Like I'm hiding the label, but look, 0%. Look at that. And I'll put the can away because obviously I'm dealing with someone, with class.
I've got nothing against you drinking out of a can. I've just gone up market and poured my can into a glass. That's all.
I've got everything out of me drinking out of a can because it's got no bloody alcohol in it. But let's draw a line under that, shall we? Let's draw a line under that.
So, good week, bad week, busy week.
Good week, busy week. I had things planned, but then, as we all know, since the unwelcome guest dropped in, we've got no. You can't really plan at the moment, but I've had some nice self tapes to do this week. So that's been really good. They sort of dropped in. You go, do that one, and then we've got another one, and another one came in, and a nice variety, which has been good fun.
Audition buses, then wait for one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, what about yourself?
The standard, really, quite a bit of voiceover work, as is my usual. But also, as you are well aware, but people out there may not be, I was on the receiving end of a very exciting phone call this week, which people will find out more about during the week leading up to, and of course, when it actually releases next week's episode. So some really exciting news coming for that one.
Hushy.
Definitely don't want to miss it.
No.
But yeah, so I've been busy doing bits and pieces to prepare for that. And yeah, genuinely cannot wait. I mean,
I know.
I've had another week of amazing support, social media and the podcast and YouTube. It's been brilliant.
I know. I'm just gonna cheers to all our listeners and subscribers. I have to say. It's growing on me. I have to say, we have had
some. You to stop drinking it.
We've had some great comments. I mean, it's been fab, and even my mum now is a regular listener. Bless her.
Is she? Wow.
She's enjoying it. But we have had a comment, and my mum said, "I love it when you talk about yourselves."
But that's because she's your mum.
Yeah,
she's proud of you.
Oh yeah, bless her heart. Yeah, but we did have a little comment. So, we've had a good chat about what we've been up to and what and the business, etc. But someone said we'd like a little bit because we haven't actually told people very much about ourselves.
No, that is true. Actually,
so I have just sent you something.
Oh, is that what's popped up in the chat?
That's popped in the chat box. Have a look. Oh, there are some in-depth performance questions.
Right. Do you know, I spotted it. This has gone around on social media, hasn't it?
I think it's whizzed about on the various platforms.
Yeah.
But I sort of started it and looked, and then I thought, you know what? I think I need my compadre to join me on this. And
so what do you reckon if we buzz through and have a look, and then people might find out a little bit more about us and our careers, maybe?
Yeah. And also how ridiculous sometimes the whole business of show is.
The whole phrase, the things you do for work, or
the things you do for money. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's. I tried to sort of glam it up a little bit, but no, you've gone straight in for the jugular. It's all about the moolah. But anyway, Yeah,
Well, it
come
isn't
on.
at
I'll
the
tell you what,
moment,
then,
is
mate. Why don't we go in turns then? Hit with
Right.
a question and take it
Okay.
in turns to answer and see what we come out with. It'd be interesting to hear.
And yeah. Have you ever played a murderer?
A murderer. Do you know, I spent a lot of my early career doing quite a few murder mystery shows. So I think probably on a couple of occasions, yeah. And also actually I did a short film many years ago, really interesting film. Where it was like a director was directing something, but every time he shouted cut, it jumped to a different scene. It was really clever. But either way, I was anyone that's going to watch that, I'm about to ruin it, but I was the murderer in that. So what about yourself?
Yeah, I did very early on. I did a lot of Weekly Rep, which is a show a week. And I did lots of seasons. My first job was in Weekly Rep. And so the first part I ever played was in I'm trying to remember the title. Teddy Bear's Picnic, it was called, about a guy called Teddy Bear. And I played a murderer. I murdered my my lovely, aged, sweet, delicate wife. So yeah, the first part I ever played. I've played a lot more since then in Weekly Rep and Rep season. So yeah.
Do you think we've both got the look of murderers? Is that why we get those quite a lot?
Yeah, probably. As I was once described by a gentleman in a newspaper in Nottingham as, I have something of the night about me. I don't know. I know there was a politician that was described like that. Yeah, I know.
Mate, I really hope another question comes up later that allows you to elaborate on that. That's for sure. But anyway, okay. Question 2 then. Have you ever played an animal?
Yes, I have. Yes. I played a squirrel in a children's show for Polka Children's Theatre, which is based in Wimbledon.
Oh, very nice. I don't think I ever have. I did a very strange graduate project some years ago, which was about the big bad wolf, and he was seeing a psychiatrist, and I played like his inner monologue. So I don't know if that counts, but no, not an animal per se. So.
Oh, that's just interesting. The heart of the soul of a wolf.
Well, yeah, but more like his conscience, really.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I like that. No, I think so. Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah,
yeah. Good on you. Right. What's the other one then? Oh, have you played a character with a gender different to yours?
Yes, I have. I was in the musical Pageant, which, for those people that have never heard of it, probably most people have never heard of it. It's basically a beauty pageant. But there are 6 leading ladies, but they are all drag performers. So, and I played Miss Texas, who was one of the drag performers. And I know the answer to this for you, but you better tell everyone. Go on, go ahead.
Well, I'm a regular pantomime dame.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played dame, but I've also played in a series of shows called the Ha Ha Shows. We did the Hound of the Baskervilles. Or the Hound of the Blistervilles, and I played all the female characters in that. So
wow.
I was a very flighty, titled lady. I was Lady Fanny. The less said about Fanny, the better.
And yet again, we have a week where we have to put the explicit tag on.
Quick, ask a question. Move on.
Right. Okay. Have you ever worked with an Oscar or Tony or Emmy winner?
No.
No,
I haven't. I can say no. I've been filmed by an Emmy winner. The lady who did some publicity filming on a pantomime, and she was she'd won an Emmy for a short film that she directed and shot. So I suppose I have in that respect. How about yourself?
So I've worked for or with a few Oscar/BAFTA nominees in directors, but never a winner that I'm aware of.
So. No, me either. What else we got then?
Go on, you're up.
God, I'm dreading the answers. Have you ever undressed on stage?
Do you know what? Very proud to say it. One of my favorite ever shows I was involved in. I did the Full Monty. I've been in the Full Monty as one of the main 6 guys. And I tell you what, there is nothing quite like being stood on a stage, completely stark bolloco, looking out at an audience, and again,
and they're looking back.
Full Monty. the show ends with the big reveal. Everyone, all the guys go completely naked, but big bright lights come on behind you. So actually, all the audience can see is silhouettes. Whereas being a performer on the stage, because the lights are behind you, you can see every single person in the audience. Like it's such a surreal feeling. But the camaraderie that we built as the 6 guys through the audition and rehearsal process was phenomenal. And it's very similar to the film, which obviously award-winning, well-known, well-loved. But the musical is set in America. In Buffalo, I believe, if I remember rightly, and similar sort of thing, steel mill, down on their luck guys who are all struggling to make ends meet. But some of the music in it is beautiful. It's such a touching, moving show. And
it is. Yeah, I love the film.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's at the end of the day, it's fun and it's silly and it's naughty and all that. But the meaning behind it is so powerful, and it's definitely one of my favorite shows I've ever been involved in. Lots of fun stories about that one as well. But anyway, what about yourself?
Yes, I did when I was when I was young, I did a production of Equus, and I played Alan Strang, the young guy. And there's a scene, a very, very sweet, delicate scene, where he is not so much seduced, but he's in a barn with a young girl, one of the stable girls, and we had lots of straw about and delicately placed hay bales, but there was no way that we couldn't be naked, and the whole point was that we were, and it is very intrinsic to the plot. But I remember doing this at a local theatre, and my mum and dad being in the audience. And yeah, that was I was never embarrassed at any time. Until that moment when I was in this middle of the scene, I suddenly went, "Oh yeah, Mum and Dad are in tonight." And it just sort of, Do
you know, I had a not a similar experience, but because I wanted to be confident in my body for Full Monty, I had sort of I started a personal training regime leading up to the show and for the performances, and my personal trainer came to see the show, and I mean, he is a massive, big, muscular, full-on like Viking beard and ponytail and stuff. And I think I got him 2 tickets. And in the end, his other half, his missus, she was unwell, so she couldn't come. So you had this audience, which, as the Full Monty tends to attract, quite a female-dominated audience usually. Particularly, you get the odd sort of hen do that go along and watch, not quite understanding that there's a little bit more to it than just a few guys having a bit of a strip. And so it was hilarious looking out into the audience and seeing mainly women, and then this massive muscle-bound guy sat in the front row on his own. So shout out to Shane. Thank you for coming along and supporting me, mate. Hope you're well.
Brilliant. I love that. It's a great story. That is a great story.
Yes. Right. Is it me? Am I asking? Have you ever had a stage kiss?
Yes, I have. Yes. Yeah. I've had quite a few. Just in I mean, full on sort of, snog. Only one I can remember, and that was sort of forced upon the character I was playing.
I thought you were going to say that was forced into the script by you.
Yeah, I said I want to kiss. No, it was a Russian play, and I played a very innocent character, and the lady in question sort of grabs hold of him and smothers him in her ample bosom, and
Yeah.
So, but I've had a couple of nice ones since then. I've not actually played too many romantic roles. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, there's been sort of the odd stage peck and kiss and affection. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm similar. No major romantic show or roles in shows. I did a production of Closer many years ago, which
that's nice.
For anyone that knows it, technically it's a horrible show. The content about it is really kind of negative.
Gosh, yeah.
The characters are not nice people, any of them really.
No.
But there's romantic interest in that, and then as you say, like the odd peck here and there for various characters, but nothing major, I wouldn't say. So go on, you're up.
Okie dokie. Oh, Always an interesting one. Have you played a ghost?
Yes, I did a school's tour of Christmas Carol, three-hander, so 3 actors, and we played probably 10 characters each within the story. One of which for me, I think I was the Ghost of Future or Ghost of Yet to Come or whatever it's called in the.
Oh yeah.
What about you?
I played the ghost of. I did Steptoe's Son.
Oh, lovely!
In the West End, quite a few years ago, and I was understudying on that, but I went on a couple of times for the actor playing Albert. And at the top of the show, Harold goes back to Oil Drum Lane, to the old house, which is now a museum piece, and he wanders around his old house, and his dad Albert appears as his ghost and walks across the set, and then you get a flashback and you go into the story and you find out how Albert died. So I played Albert Steptoe's ghost. The ghost of my own character. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Right. What else we got? Ooh.
Is it me again? I'm so not keeping track of who's who.
I'm just looking down, seeing what's to come.
Okay. Have you been in a staged fight? So I'm assuming that means have you had to be in a choreographed fight scene for film, TV, stage, whatever?
Yeah. I've done a couple of sort of tussles in murder mysteries and that sort of thing. But I did Edmund in King Lear, and I had the big fight with Edgar at the end. And I had and I did a couple of sort of big stage scenes, big sort of crowd scenes at the top of Romeo and Juliet when I was at drama school.
Oh,
yeah. And yourself, wow. You must have been butch and in a fight. Come on.
You know what?
Anyone who's been in a full Monty must have,
I don't think they're particularly connected, but anyway. No. So I don't know if you know this actually, but a few years ago, I started training for the stunt register. So I was very interested in stunt performing. When I was younger, I was quite a high level swimmer. I did a bit of diving. And a little bit of gymnastics when I was very, very small. But so I was quite intrigued by sort of stunt work and did a little bit of training for that. But for anyone that's been through stunt training, they will tell you it's a bloody expensive pastime to have. So you've got to get to such a high level in multiple disciplines. So mine sort of got put on hold. However, because I have got some training and because of what I achieved, I actually got connected through a friend, who a fellow actor, to a stunt team who I've ended up working with now on a couple of occasions. And my first fairly substantial stunt role, or my first film where I performed some stunts, comes out later this year. So that's really exciting. So yeah, again, I've done a couple of bits on stage and done a bit of sort of sword training and helped with a stage combat workshop. So yeah, various different bits and pieces there, definitely.
Yeah. Have you been in a Shakespeare play?
A few, mate. I think it's a staple, isn't it? Particularly in training. I mean, I never trained officially. I've done various workshops and bits, but I didn't go to theatre school. But I think it's just something as an actor you do end up doing. So off the top of my head, Much Ado About Nothing, 12th Night. I also did a filmed sort of production, or was I was involved in a film production of Romeo and Juliet, but I don't think that ever sort of happened. But yeah, so a couple, and I'm assuming you've already mentioned.
Yeah, I've done the kind of the Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, which I mentioned, Merry Wives of Windsor. Can't remember. Yeah, but the sort of staple, But I would like to do more. Do like it. Right, hit me.
Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction on stage? And I'm assuming that means costume or props or something. Not have you ever had a wardrobe on stage that has malfunctioned?
I have had a wardrobe on stage that has malfunctioned.
No,
actually.
Really?
Yes. I did a play called. I've had bits of costume fall off, but I was in a play called Out of Order, and in Out of Order there is a body that people think is a dead body. And the two, it's a beautiful play by Ray Cooney, great farce. The two protagonists are trying to get rid of this body all the way through the act because they think he's dead. And in fact, he isn't dead. He's only knocked out.
Right.
At the interval, the dead body, which I played, wakes up. But they hang him in a wardrobe, in a closet, to hide the body throughout the act, and then they get him out and dress him up and everything. And I was hung in the wardrobe, and they closed the door, and I was able to unhook myself and then stand there, and then when the scene is ready to start, hook myself back up, hang there, and then they get me out. But one day, one performance, they hooked me up, and I actually couldn't unhook myself. So I had to hang there for about 15, 20 minutes.
No.
Until they opened the door and then unhooked me. And it was like, oh my God.
No.
I was. Yeah, I actually, and I thought, I mean, bits of me were constricted. It has to be said, and I really, and of course, nobody had any idea because I'm on stage and I couldn't sort of go, get me out or anything.
Wow.
It was hysterical.
Amazing. But I was being silly by saying that, but that is brilliant. That is comedy gold that my play on words has actually worked out. Look at that. So from my perspective, I'm sure there have been multiples, but one that sticks out, excuse the pun, you'll hear why. So I played Rooster in Annie, and we rigged up this very clever, there's where the character makes a threat about Annie and sort of draws a knife across his throat. And I had this clever thing hooked up where I did that with a knife and then went like that and then waved my hand and it disappeared. And there was like an elastic sort of rig up my sleeve where the knife just disappeared. Nice. And then one night, ta-da, and it just stayed there. I looked at it and kind of shook my arm, and then eventually it disappeared. Kind of ruined the effect a little bit.
Kind of gave the gag away, didn't it? A bit.
Yeah, just a bit. Go on, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Have you eaten real food on stage?
Oh, so I've been lucky enough to do The Importance of Being Earnest twice. I've played, in fact, the same role twice. John Worthing, I'd say lead, the main character, sort of. Either way, played that role twice, and he has a wonderful scene with his opposite number, Algie, where they sort of almost have a fight over food, plate of sandwiches and some muffins. So right. I've been paid twice to sit and stuff my face with cake. What more can you want?
I had to eat ice creams on stage once.
Oh, well, go and upstage me then. Bloody hell.
No, I was playing a child game at Polka Children's Theatre. Good advert for them. Good theatre. And I had these two ice creams and I didn't want to share them. I was playing the spoilt brat. And so I had to eat these ice creams. But to make the sort of child look really horrible, they said, well, eat them then. So every day, pretty much twice a day sometimes, I had to eat these two ice creams. And they were lovely. The lady making the props made lovely ice cream.
Right. Have you been injured during a show?
I've been injured. Well, I've been injured before a show while doing the get-in. For anyone listening doesn't know the phrase, get-in is getting the set, the props, putting the set on stage. And
that's probably loud. I'm just topping up and
that's good. Go for it.
To splash around the room rather than just going straight into my glass.
Slop it in. But no, we were doing the get-in, and the show I was on, the set was basically three huge pieces of scenery on trucks on wheels, and I was on a ladder about 8 feet up in the air, 6 feet up in the air. And this piece of scenery, they hadn't put the brakes on the trucks. So the scenery rolled forward, took me off my ladder. I went off the ladder, hit the front of the stage, bounced off the front of the stage and into the orchestra pit. And I broke my wrist.
Oh,
which was hysterical because I was actually, as well as doing this, I was the understudy on the show. I had a small part in the show, but I was an understudy on the show as well. So my understudy had to go on that night, which was hysterical. But it was, I have to say, I was up north and the hospital were absolutely amazing. I went there and they put me in a cast. The next day I got a cast I could work in. And then, before the show. So there you go.
Yeah. But touch wood, not during.
Not during, no. You have, haven't you?
Well, so you know this, but I broke my nose in rehearsal. So I told you it'd come up again. Full Monty in rehearsal. So character I played spends the show trying to run up a wall and do a backflip. I can't remember who did it. And was it in Singing in the Rain? I can't remember.
Yeah, Donald O'Connor.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. So and he tries to imitate him, runs up the wall, falls down. So not only every show, I think 3 or 4 times did I have to do that, and ended up landing on my arm and quite hurting myself each show. I wasn't training for stunts at this point, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But just to add, it wasn't the fault of any of like the directing, the crew or anyone like that. It was me just being useless. So it was completely safe. It was just me being an idiot. But in rehearsal, we were rehearsing the finale, and one of the parts of the finale is that the character who has been trying to do a backflip all the way through the show finally manages it with assistance of his fellow guys. And we're in rehearsal, and they sort of flick me backwards, and I complete the rest of the backflip. And we're in rehearsal. First time, perfect. One very, very successful backflip. Second time, one very, very not successful backflip. I obviously got a bit enthusiastic, flicked my legs backwards, slipped off, their shoulders were slipped backwards, and landed flat on my face, and big everywhere. So, but I mean, that show was jinxed because I did that, and then our lead, he also, I think he tore his hamstring or something in one of the dances, but he went down like he'd been shot, and he ended up being on crutches for most of the run. It was horrendous. But yeah, so definitely some interesting stories from that one.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Well, what's up next then?
What we got next? Being during the show. Well, quick one. This been paid for a performance.
Well, lucky enough, it's our job, so we get to say yes, and I'm grateful for that every day. So,
there's some good ones coming up, mate. Go on.
Oh yeah, go on. Next one. So, sung in a show. Well,
yes, I've sung in a show.
Yeah, I mean that's my favourite thing. Musical.
That's your favourite thing, yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Not my favourite thing, but I have sung in a few shows.
Absolutely.
Okay, what else? Have you farted on stage during a show?
I would like to make the point now that any performer that says no to that answer is lying.
Absolutely. I think
I can't pinpoint, but I can 99% guarantee that yes. Yeah.
I can't pin it down, but I'm probably 100% sure.
No. Yeah. Right. Have you ever played a child? I think you've already sort of mentioned this.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I played lots of kids for played a lot when I was first started out because I looked beautifully young and I was short. But yeah, I played quite a few children. Yeah.
I've again the tour of Christmas Carol I did amongst the characters were a couple of children in that one, I think. So
brilliant. I like this one. Have you died on stage?
It's a very personal question, mate. Just because not every performance goes well. No, obviously it's not referring to how successful a performance has gone. Characters dying on stage, yeah. Murder mysteries again. I think a couple of times I've died. You?
Yeah, me. I mean, literally and metaphorically in both instances. Yes, I think I can say that. Yeah.
Go on.
Are you next or is it me? I don't know.
It's me. It's even. Have you choreographed a show?
Not choreographed. I've directed, but I've not choreographed.
All right. Likewise.
If you've ever seen me dance, you'll know why.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say very similar. I mean, I started out as a singer dancer in a tribute band, but my dancing still leaves very much to be desired. But I haven't choreographed. I mean, I've put together some movement bits for some videos that have been done and stuff, but I certainly wouldn't class it as choreography. Right, right. You're up next.
Directed a show? Well,
no, you've just mentioned, but again, no, not. I've not directed a show. I've done little bits of direction and done quite a lot of shows where everyone sort of had some input, but never as a main director. But you said you have.
Yeah, I've directed some pantos. And I directed a tour of John Gobber's Shakers, which is the female version of Bouncers, which was lovely because I was on tour with 4 very, very nice ladies and we had an absolute scream. It's a bloody great show. And I directed a couple of shows on the Fringe as well. So, yeah. Right. Oh, and some classic thrillers in Nottingham at the Theatre Royal there. So, yeah.
Lovely.
That was nice. So what else we got? Oh, Have you worked with animals?
Yeah. So I was in Annie, and obviously there's quite a famous character played by a dog. So what about you?
I worked with a couple of animals, but I have a wonderful story. It was my very first, again, from my first job. I got a couple of, and we did a play called Sabrina Fair. And in Sabrina Fair, the character Sabrina comes back from Paris with, in a cage, a cockatoo. And the cockatoo is called Morris. Now, it was my first job, and I was an acting ASM, assistant stage manager. And they said to me, right, Andrew, could you make us a cockatoo? And we were in a seaside town performing in where was it? In Sidmouth. Yeah. And so I thought, right, I'll go down the beach. I'll grab some feathers, etc., and I'll make not Sidmouth, I beg your pardon, Southwold Summer Theatre, Southwold. And I'll grab some gull feathers, get a bit of polystyrene, shove some feather in, stick it on a perch in a cage. No one will ever know. On the way to the beach, I find a pub.
Right.
I didn't go in the pub. When I went to the pub, was because hanging outside in a cage was a cockatoo.
A real one.
A real cockatoo.
Right.
And it had a collecting, there's the boat shapes for the RNLI, the lifeboat collecting, hanging underneath.
Yeah.
And I went in the pub and I said, can we borrow for our play your cockatoo? And they went, of course you can. And his name was Murphy. Now,
I should have any chances, mate.
I know. But I should have known that a cockatoo hanging outside a pub yeah. Well, anyway, he behaved perfectly. He behaved absolutely perfectly until one night we pulled the cover back, and that cockatoo knew more swear words than the changing room at Twickenham Rugby. I mean, honestly, he was just the foulest mouth. They don't thought the comb went up, and he's opened his got because he was in a pub. And we got him quickly off stage. I thought, I'm just going to lose my job now.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So the next day I went down the beach and got some feathers and stuck it in some polystyrene, and Murphy was up. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Mate, what a story. Okay. Have you fired a prop gun on stage?
Yes. Yeah, I fired a gun.
I haven't really got a story beyond that.
No, I haven't really. I've fired them and they've worked. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right then. This is an interesting one. Being in a show with your spouse, slash girlfriend partner. There we are. We'll open it up to that.
No. So my lovely other half does a lot of work backstage though. So I've actually been in a couple of shows where she's been a chaperone or working backstage on something. But I have to say that I've worked on stage twice with her daughter, who is a dancer or was a dancer. So she's been in the dance as part of the dancers while I've been performing in pantomime. So now you could go on for hours for this one, couldn't you?
No, I've done quite a few pantos with my lovely wife. Mm-hmm. I was usually the villain and she was the lovely princess. So I spent a lot of time at Christmas dragging her around the stage. We do. Some people may know that we perform as she plays Sybil and I play Manuel from 40 Towers. So and lots of other bits and pieces over the years. We have done a lot of stuff together. Yes. We've been in weekly rep together. So we've done 10 or 12 shows acting opposite each other. So yeah, it's been
very
fun.
Very nice, mate. Very nice.
Yeah. Right. What else we got then? Is it you? Is it me?
It's you.
Was it? Okay. Been in a show that performed in more than one venue. Went on tour.
Yeah. I mean, numerous times.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And sorry, I've just realised it was me, that one, wasn't it?
That's all right. I'm letting you do the next two.
Have you got married on stage?
No,
neither have I. I think I've proposed a couple of times on stage. But I don't think I've ever had a marriage ceremony. So
next one's interesting. I played the parent of a child actor.
Now I'll tell you what. To make it fair for you, we'll open up to a grandparent as well.
Oh, touche.
Yeah, that was quite quick, wasn't it?
That was very
so
good.
I again, among many roles, I've played Bob Cratchit a couple of times actually in Christmas Carol, who obviously has Tiny Tim amongst other children. So yes, I have. And you?
I can think. I've not on stage. I did a short film a while ago where I played a father of a troubled teenage daughter. They recently lost the mother / wife had passed away, and it was their relationship of the father and daughter as they went through the period of mourning. But I think that's the only time. I can't remember anything else.
Do you know what? Actually, that's made me think. So, not technically acting, but numerous times I've modelled for wedding photography or for family photography. So, technically, among those last couple of questions, yes, I've played a dad in various photography. Yes, I've been married hundreds of times. I used to work as an in-house model actually for a wedding photography like teaching school thing. So I used to get married on a weekly basis.
Regular basis.
Yeah. So many wives you would not believe. Okay. This is penultimate question then, isn't it? So, Drew, have you ever fallen off the stage?
Well, I think we said in that previous one, injured. Yeah. So yes, So yes, but not during a show, but as everyone heard, before a show.
Yes.
Fallen off stage?
Not during a show. However, I did a production of Disney's Little Mermaid on stage years and years ago. Played Prince Eric back again when I looked a little bit more princely and less old.
But be kind to yourself.
So, for anyone that doesn't know about the show, hasn't seen the show, quite often it's done on. They're a bit like roller skates, or I think they were called Heelys, or basically you've got wheels in your shoes. Or I didn't, but the mermaids do, because then they're able to have a tail and make it look like they're gliding. Very clever. And at one point, Prince Eric is getting shipwrecked. Most people will know roughly the story of the Little Mermaid. And basically, I had to fall off the ship into the sea. And the mermaids would catch me. Can you see where I'm going?
I can.
Yeah. So I had to fall off the stage, but you do that typical sort of where you hold your arms out and the safety catch thing, trust exercise thing. But they were all on wheels. So I fell into their arms and most of them went with me. So have I fallen off stage? Yes, deliberately, but I was dropped. So not deliberate. But yeah, so there you go. Safe to say, we took that bit out of the show in the end and just adapted it slightly.
You know what? There's that old theatre saying, never trust a mermaid.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Have you not? Oh, no, mate. When you've been around as long as I have, you realise you never trust a mermaid. Never.
Because you lived in the time of myth. You know me.
Yeah. My career's a myth for the past year, mate.
Go on, then finish this off. What have we got?
Performed outside the UK, and if so, how many countries?
Oh, excellent. So, well, the answer for both of us is yes, because we've performed in other countries together.
We've worked together, yeah.
Quick count in my head. I think about 6 different countries. So I've done a lot all over the UK on various tours and other things. But certainly been over to both sides of Ireland, and also fairly recently, you and I say fairly recently, it's a couple of years ago, but we went out to Spain and Gibraltar, didn't we?
Did. Yes.
Do a show that we do together. So yes, I've 6 or 7 countries, but lots of times. So very lucky.
Yeah, I think myself. I toured through Europe a few years ago with the Mousetrap. So I've done a lot of countries in Europe. And you say we nipped across a couple of times with various shows where we met. So that was nice. Yeah.
Well, do you know what, mate? That was really, really fun, actually. And
I like that.
Hopefully that's given people a little bit of an insight into us. So a little bit of a different episode this week. We haven't necessarily gone on to a discussion topic per se, but I think it's been quite nice to sort of open up and people perhaps will know a little bit more about us now and some of our experiences and actually heard some funny anecdotes of things that can happen when you're on tour, when you're performing. But for anyone that hasn't enjoyed this, I promise we'll be back to normal setup next week. Very much more familiar stuff. And and big surprise next week as well.
Yeah.
So that's very.
I'm really
very
looking forward to
exciting.
next week. I think next week's going to be great fun, and really
honestly,
good surprise.
Super excited.
Yeah.
We will leave a few clues throughout the week. We'll find something.
Drop a few hints. Yeah.
So actually, that's a great thing to say. So make sure you are following us on all the social medias, and so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. If you want to watch us gesticulate, is that the right word? Gesticulate? Yes. Yeah. As we're talking. But more importantly, please do subscribe to the podcast. I mean, other podcast apps are available, but off the top of my head, Apple, Google, Spotify, Deezer, Castbox, Stitcher. We're on lots of things, aren't we, mate?
Lots of them. There's loads.
But yes, so please pick your app, subscribe, download the episodes. If you haven't heard episode 1 and 2, please do listen to those, and definitely follow us on social media because exciting things coming up.
Yes, keep checking it because we'll be posting little hints during the week.
Indeed, we shall. But yeah, thank you to everyone that has already subscribed, followed, shared. Please continue to do so. We're having a blast doing this. I definitely am, Drew. I'm assuming you are enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I really am. I mean, and it's been lovely to hear what people say. So if anybody has any comments, please let us know. And if you've got anything you would like us to discuss, because it's nice to be challenged.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to, any and ask us anything, please. Be nice to have a dialogue, not only between Sam and myself, but with all our wonderful listeners and subscribers. So
yes, indeed. So look forward to receiving comments and questions and queries and obscenity probably.
It'll be just my mother. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Off on a mad one again. Anyway, Drew, pleasure as always, mate.
Sam, brilliant stuff.
Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers, mate. Until next week. Take care.
Absolutely, and thank you all for listening. See you soon. Ta-da.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing and you'll get notified every time a new episode is released. The podcast is available on all good platforms or directly through our RSS feed. Just check the podcast details.
You can also find us on all popular social media, and you can even watch us on YouTube, although why you'd want to look at Drew's face is a mystery to me. Again, all our social media links and handles are in the podcast details.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends, and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.